Well, my number one thing I've got to do is fix our schools. 60% of our kids right now can't read, write, or do math at grade level. That is tragic. 5% of African American and Hispanic kids can read at grade level in DPS. We should be shouting that from the rooftops, not to mention the mental health crisis our kids are facing. We have the 6th highest suicide rate for kids in the country, 2nd highest drug addiction rate for kids in our country. That is not okay. So if our kids are not okay, nothing is okay. So that's my first priority. And then as far as crime, we've got to do what we can to address fentanyl. It's the number one thing I hear from law enforcement across the state. I think the law they just passed is a bunch of nonsense. It makes it harder to prosecute, even to take care of the problem. I've got to have the back of law enforcement. I've got to have the back of our ICE agents. I've got to do everything I can to give them the tools and resources they need to fight crime in our neighborhoods and our communities.
How do you plan to do anything as a Republican governor in Colorado when one chamber in the state legislature is held by the Democrats?
Well, we'll see how things go in this election. I believe we have a chance to take back both sides of the legislature and the Attorney General's office and Secretary of State's office and the Treasurer's office. I think it's going to be a big year for Republicans in Colorado, as evidenced by tonight. And I truly believe that we have the best ideas to take us back. We've dropped from number 11 to number 29 in business-friendly states. How are we going to get back to being the land of opportunity in the wild, wild west, the big frontier where people come for opportunity? It's so important. We've got to fix our education system, and we've got to make it a great place to do business again.
Can you speak a little bit, though, to how you plan to coalition build and work with Democratic leadership?
I already am. I built a nonprofit called Moms Fight Back, and with Representative Froelich, we got a law passed just a couple sessions ago to change the way they train for domestic violence and child abuse in the family court system. And on the Regent board, we have a very divisive split board. It goes back and forth in the majority, but I've been able to reach across the aisle and get a lot of things done, like getting rid of safe spaces at CU and protecting academic freedom, bringing civics education back, and keeping tuition flat over the last 6 years since I've been there for the most part. So I'm used to doing that as a franchise operator and CEO of a large franchise company. We have to do the same. We have a couple hundred people with different ideas about how to get to a certain vision, and we have to make sure that we all work together to do that. So I am a collaborator. I'm going to be a common sense conservative leader, and I'm going to get us back to a state where the people have the say in what happens, not a governor or the legislature that goes around them.
Do you believe there was fraud in the 2020 election?
I want to move forward. I want to bring us together in this state. The most important thing we can do around election integrity is A, ask people to get involved, to be election judges and poll watchers, but B, to provide transparency. And what Jenna Griswold and the legislature did with this recent legislation was stop that. They made it harder to be transparent. They took power away from county clerks and gave it to the Secretary of State's office. That doesn't bode well for making people confident in our elections again. There are a lot of people who feel unsettled about all the elections. So we've got to do whatever we can to change that. That's the bedrock of our democracy.
But were you confident in the results of the 2020 election?
I've already answered that question many times. We're moving forward, and we're talking about the 22 election from here on out.
Well, speaking of that election, Tina Peters is already claiming that there was fraud in today's election and tonight's results. Can you respond to that?
I'm focused on my election. I'm excited and proud. We're going to enjoy the evening, and then we're going to get to work first thing tomorrow morning in beating Jared Polis.
That's it, guys. Thank you.